Okay, guys, so I'm not the best researcher, I'm not the best investigator, I'm not the best journalist, um, but my role in all of this, I think, is uniting the dissidents and information warfare. And I've just always thought that if we could get like the Ron Paul guys and the Ron Paul and the Fed, those guys, and if we could get the Occupy Wall Street people together, we could have fixed this mess years ago. Um, but the problem is the Occupy Wall Street guys got detonated with social justice. All the multinational corporations are now woke, and that was to destroy the left. Okay, it was to destroy the dissident left. But I think like something important that we can all do is try to seek out the dissident left, and those on the left seek out the dissident right. And I think just a simple thing that you can all do, whichever side of this like fake spectrum that you think you're on, um, you can start watching the Jimmy Dore show. Okay, he's a progressive. He's on the dissident left, but he was one of these guys that he was injured by the needle, and he's kind of always been anti-establishment. He's always been calling out the security state, and he'll also, like, if you just watch his show, he'll also introduce you to a lot of other journalists and people sort of in the dissident left space. But I think you should also watch Steve Bannon. He's definitely like a red team guy, but he's kind of, I don't know what you would call it, like new right, populist right. But I think the thing is, Jimmy Dore and Steve Bannon and the dissident right and the dissident left are both anti-establishment. They both at least have a sense of what the real enemy is, which is this globalist, multinational corporate security state, which is being built around us right now. Steve Bannon will talk about the Party of Davos. That's the World Economic Forum, and those type of people who are really like the globalist movers and shakers, and he recognizes them as the real enemy. Yeah, he still plays into like the blue team, red team stuff a lot, but like that's part of his thing. Like, he's organizing the dissident right, and I just think if we could get dialogue between the dissident right and the dissident left, and just put aside all of this political theater, we could actually change the country for the good, and maybe dismantle this globalist brave new hell that's being created around us. And on Jimmy Dore's show recently, he was tearing apart like these MSNBC people who are of course talking about how terrible it is that Elon Musk bought Twitter, and and everything involved in that. And of course, I don't think Elon Musk is your friend. He's totally in bed with the security state. But one of the things Jimmy Dore pointed out was that Comcast, which owns MSNBC, is also owned by one billionaire. So all of this LARPing on the left of like, oh, Twitter is being privatized and it's just this one evil billionaire who's controlling the public square now. It's like that has always like that has been the case for decades. Okay, all of the media you consume, like if you, at the end of the day, if you look into it, it's controlled by a very small group of rich and powerful people. Okay, so at the end of this video, I'm gonna have like a thought crime section, which is just gonna be for alternate platforms only. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that'll be on BitChute and Odyssey, and maybe Rumble once I get back to posting on there. But yeah, so I guess bottom line is, I think you should just start seeking out people who are dissidents on the other side. Okay, like just basic, the basic people I would just point you towards just to get you started is Steve Bannon and Jimmy Dore. Okay, like it might seem crazy, you would think like those people never go together, but you know, like if you were one of the people that followed Tim Pool, it's crazy that a lot of people think like he's on the right now, like he's a right winger, but he's not, and he never has been. He was like one of the OG Occupy Wall Street guys, and he had Steve Bannon on, and it was a great show, like when they did that. So that's the type of action we need. That's the way we need to move. The dissidents need to unite. I guess I'll just leave you with one of the true enemies, okay? One of the globalists. He's the advisor to Klaus Schwab, okay, the founder of the World Economic Forum. Here's Yuval Noah Harari, who's, you know, from a country that is the US's greatest ally.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin.
What we have seen so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We're now seeing mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them. And we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition? Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life. I know that in recent years, we saw populist politicians undermining deliberately the trust that people have in important institutions like universities, like respectable media outlets. These populist politicians told people that, say, scientists are this small elite, disconnected from the real people. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.